Hello gamers, Matt Lemke back again. Today I'm going to paint this guy. Don't know his name. It was given to me. He's a Confrontation Mini. He's pewter. That's how old he is. He's been sitting around my house, probably for 4 years, unpainted. So I'm going to paint him. Basically I'm going to use Vallejo's Heavy Charcoal, Vallejo's Bone White, Vallejo's Dead White, Cold Gray. I'm going to base the bone with P3's Menoth White. And his eyes, I think he's got eyes. I'm going to start with dark green and attempt to go up to a lively green. This should be a relatively easy figure to paint. I'm hoping to be done with this in 15 minutes. So I'm not going to waste any more time. I'm going to grab my brush and start base coating. Now, there's a lot of detail on this Mini. There's a lot of places where I can add bone or make them look like claws, fingernails, whatever. I think this is one of the rare exceptions where the detail on this Mini is going to make it easier to paint. Because it's basically going to be a base coat and a couple of dry brushes and you're done. Probably should do that last, but I'm silly. I might change his horns around. I kind of think this dude looks like he's rising out of the depths of hell, so giving him some red and orange on the horns might be a good contrast to this miniature. A couple of these spots are a little bit actually tough to get to, but that's okay. I think it's cool to watch how minis just kind of come to life as you paint them. I mean, I'm not the world's greatest painter in the world, but making these videos and having you guys watch them actually makes me want to paint more, which in turn will probably make me a better painter in time. Maybe. Okay. This is going to be a dark Mini. Good kitty. Already looks better. Okay, it's going to take longer than 10 minutes because it's going to take longer than 10 minutes for this guy to dry. So, that's what paper towels are for. Well, there's a good bit of detail here. Try not to get too much paint on the high spots. Make that dark. Well, I really don't have to go back and touch it up per se. Wow, I'm never going to get in there. I got in there. And I need to rinse my brush. A little more of the Menoth white because I am silly. You got some bone there. Bone there. I'll hit this again real quick just because that gray is going to try and bleed through. I'll just work on hitting the high spot. Looks like some fungus or something. I don't know. Got an answer for everything, I guess. The way I look at it, it's more color. Okay. Now, by not waiting for this to dry, I'm technically blending this on the model. And I will probably come back and hit this with a lighter shade of gray or a mix of the white gray yet. Or, I mean, bone white and some gray. Add another layer to it. This mini is about lessen that up a little bit. Blend it in a little bit more. Like this. Put some strokes in there. What I did with my brush there is I added a little bit of the charcoal gray to it that was sitting off to the side to try and blend it in so that that edge isn't so predominant. You barely can see it. Because when it dries, it'll probably dry, well, it should dry a much lighter color. Now I'm going to attempt to dry brush. It's probably way too wet. I'm going to attempt to dry brush some of this. I'll start on the back. No, I'm not going to be able to dry brush this. This is way too wet. Yeah, that needs to dry for sure. So I'm going to go ahead and do the eyes. And for the eyes, I'm actually going to break down and I'm going to use a liner because they are tiny. Yeah, you can't even see that on the video. Well, I'll have some close-ups with my camera. Can't pick it up. Can't pick it up, you can't work on it. Where is my brush? Oh, it's in my ear. No wonder I can't find it. Well, I am going to pause for a minute and let this dry enough for me to dry brush it. There's actually a couple spots where I really need to get some of this in here. So I'll go ahead and I'll do that. And then I'll pause and I'll get ready for the dry brushes. Now, if I wasn't painting this on tape, I wouldn't come back today and hit this model again. I would let this dry overnight, 24 hours or so, and dry brush it tomorrow. I missed a spot on his blade here. Not bad for 12 minutes in. Technically, well, depending on what it looks like when it's dry. Technically, that's 3 colors. That is tabletop quality. Isn't that awful? I mean, it's not dry yet, but technically, that is tabletop quality. Yuck. I will be back when this is dry. Okay, I'm back. It looks to be dry enough to dry brush. You just have to be really careful with that dry brush because it is still a little wet, which is going to make it a lot tougher to dry brush. Now this figure has a lot of ridges, as you can see. Now I'm holding the brush with the base of it actually on the table to give me more control. Now I'm going to come back and I'm going to have to wash this model for sure. But you can see how the color is coming out on it already. Now I'm going to hit that with white again yet, on top of the gray. I probably should have skipped the gray wash, or the gray dry brush I mean, and went right to white. It would have been more predominant. That is effectively a done deal for the dry brushing. Effectively. I'm going to hit it with a black wash here in a minute. I'm going to hit this with another little bit of a dry brush. Bring some more color out on that. Nothing special. This guy's going to end up being a D&D minion for me. So, the referee looks, that's fine, or a Pathfinder minion, or whatever other game I want him to be in. Doesn't really matter. Next, I'm stepping it up to bone white. And this is going to be a real heavy dry brush, actually, on a good bit of them. Because there's a lot of bone. Like all these spots are bone, in my opinion. Paint the tip out here a bone white. Sorry, I'm not being on camera. Nobody's here to tell me otherwise. That one is actually kind of tough to do because the detail is missing. I think that's a glue seam. That's definitely a seam. Now I'm only going to hit the high spots. He's already got a base coat. And then shortly after this, I'm going to go right to bone white. And I'm going to give a good bit of dry brushing on a lot of portions of this model. Hit all these points again. Hit the tip of these gray points. I like them gray. So I'm gonna leave them there a lot. And then I'm gonna hit the very tops of those tips with bone white. Hit this. I got some gray on that. No big deal, you can always come back and hit that. Wear that down a little bit. Actually, that really turned out cool. You guys can't see it as well, but the dark green paint ran out a little bit because the rest of the model was wet in there. I'm just going to kind of dry brush that section of his face because now he looks like he's glowing. I learned a trick, and I'll share it with you. Aren't I nice? No, I'm not nice. I'm evil. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Is evil. Hey, now we're going to go to bone white. Right off the bat. I'm not wasting any time. Most of those dry brushes are done. I want this model done. I've got about 18 minutes in it. And I want to show you guys that a decent model can be done relatively quickly. A little too much paint on my brush. Kitty cat, leave me alone, I'm painting. My cat's clawing my leg. Just a little bit there. A little bit more dry brushing. Hit the high spots of his bones and stuff. And his base can use a little bit of that. The tips here, the tip there, a little bit there. This model is effectively done when I'm done with this dry brush. Effectively. There are some more details I'm probably going to do to it, but I have to make up my mind on things. Like, if I want to do anything to these horns other than leave them all white. And I don't like them white, I can tell you that right now. I do not like them. So they're probably going to go red with an orange wash, and then an orangish, whitish mix. Like that. Like that. But I might not make up that portion of my mind until I figure out what I'm going to use them for. That is pretty wicked. Real quick, I'm going to give a dry brush to the high spots here. Hit the spot here. Actually, need a little bit more paint for those. They're not horns. I don't know what they are. Get that there. Get that there. Get that there, a little bit more. I really want those to be kind of white. Kind of make you think they're venom or something. Hit that, hit that. Hit this just ever so lightly. Just ever so lightly. Already got all of those. Hit the top. Hit the top. Real light dry brush on the gray. Only hit some of those high spots. And then I will probably come back, give it a dark wash, brown maybe, flesh wash maybe. I like flesh wash on bone colors. It'll help darken up some of this gray that needs darkened up. Hey boo boo. Hey boo boo. Oh, just about there. That I missed. Ta-da! You know what? I'm going to pause real quick. I'm going to grab my flesh wash. Oh, before I do that, I want to go back to doing the eyes. I've got Livery Green, and I have P3's Necrotic Green. I'm going to go with the Necrotic Green first, and I'm really going to try and just tip the eyeball, which you are probably not going to be able to see me do on camera. And I am pretty happy with that one. I'm pretty happy with them both. Oh, you can almost see it. Real quick, I'm going to grab my flesh wash. I'll pause this. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back with my flesh wash. I'm going to add a little bit of water to it because I don't want a heavy wash on this. I want a real light wash. And I'm actually going to start at the base of the model, I think, in the back in case I don't like this wash. Normally I do, but I think I want to lighten it up just a little. Well, I'm going to make it so it runs off more. Worst comes to worst, I come back with another layer of bone white or dead white and hit the high spots, which it looks like I'm gonna have to do that on this model today. Well, I won't be able to do it today now. This has to dry. There's no way I can dry brush just before it dries. A couple other things I need to come back and do anyway. The model is technically, for all intents and purposes, done. I could play with this model and I would not have a problem with it on the table. It is 3 colors. It's not, I wouldn't win any awards with this model, but it's on the table, which is what this show is about. Painting your model and getting it on the table. This was a 30-minute paint job, roughly. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit that too. I might even, once I see it dry, I might not want to do anything else to this model, actually. I kind of like the way the white is turning to a brownish color. I like what it's doing. It just goes to show you, a little bit of time, patience, and practice, you can get your models on the table pretty quick. Now, I'm not saying that, you're going to win a Golden Demon Award with this, or a Reaper Con, or anything of that nature with it. But for playing at home, for playing D&D, that's good enough. Okay. Other than that, this is Matt Lemke through Gamer Goggles and off the palette. Still need to paint his armor piece here and his armor piece here, and they carry it through to the backside. I'm thinking on this model I'm going to go with a brassy color or a real brilliant gold. The silver, a little too dark. Let me know what you think on getting your models to the table in a half an hour. That's my goal. Eventually I want to be able to get these to a 5 to 10 minute paint job. That's my ultimate goal for the show. So let me know what you think. Let me know if you think I'm a terrible painter. Most people do. Anyway, again, it's Matt Lemke through Gamer Goggles, gamer-goggles.com. Please follow us on Twitter. Leave us feedback, comments, +1 us if you like what you see. If you don't like what I see, tell us so we can change it. Thank you.